Hello, everyone, and welcome to HR Bytes Today, a podcast and video series to bring you stories of HR professionals who bring a think globally and act locally digital HR agenda to their work. Everyday people who are driving digital transformations in their organizations, data-driven and future-fit digital HR leaders. My guest today is Tish McFadden, and this is your host, Jay Polaki. Tish McFadden is the head of people and culture at Maryland Oncology. Hello, Tish. Welcome to HR Bytes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. So, Tish, you've been in HR for more than 20 years now, and you are the head of people and culture at Maryland Oncology. What has been your year like this past year? Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world.
My world was, wow, a roller coaster last year. So I started with Maryland Oncology November 18th of 2019. And so by my 90 days, we were entering into the pandemic. And just, I like whenever I start a new role, I like to do a self-assessment and do have a benchmark. I started our surveys on that Friday of January 31st. We went into February, Valentine's, March. We went to our third rally and bam, coronavirus. So just, again, doing our audit, cleaning up items that we needed to clean up. And in addition to, we had a joint venture with Adventist Healthcare, and we actually had the largest extraction with the U.S. Oncology Network. So we have 9 new oncologists, and our 6th division was birthed. So we have a brand new division in our Annapolis area where we have about 75 new team members, 9 doctors. We have our new radiation center at our White Oak Medical Center, and we have a new radiation oncologist. It's been very, very busy, and still juggling everything with COVID-19. So lots of work in 2020.
Well, you are the true HR healthcare heroine or superwoman or Wonder Woman, if I might call you that.
Thank you.
Your cape.
I know, right? Thank you.
So how do you think the pandemic has fast forwarded, the tech adoption in your function, in your HR role, and in your HR, department? I'm not sure how many employees are there, but how has the whole OMG scenario of 2020 translated and leveraged technology into your work at Maryland Oncology?
Yes. So one of the things that I had on my agenda for my last job that I know I wanted to bring here was an electronic platform. And so I'm still waiting for budgets to come out. Shout out to Dan with Beekeeper. But I started to, of course, we have our town halls, we have our Zoom calls, but I started to have video messaging. So in addition to sending out emails, in addition to, having my rallies and trying to engage and build a culture, I've started interviewing our presidents, and going to different locations. And so, for example, yesterday, because we had snow the last couple of days, I did my February message and I shared our entire calendar. We're celebrating Black History Month. We're celebrating gallbladder cancer awareness. We're focusing on our call center, our front desk, our schedulers. There's so much things that's happening. And so it gives me an opportunity to connect, even though I can't physically, tangibly give a hug or a high five to a team member, but it lets them to see me real time, hear my voice, the inflection, and just kind of have that avatar, kind of like they're there, but they're not there. But my team members love it. I have one team member in our Annapolis division. She takes it home to share it with her family because it just makes her day. And that makes me feel good that we're connecting, even though we're in a pandemic.
What an innovative way to connect and stay connected, during this time. So you are a super connector, which is obvious. How has your social capital, your organizational connections within Maryland Oncology helped you foster and, kind of bring together a culture of innovation and scale the innovation within your department?
So because of that, we have motivated, we have duplicated ourselves. So we're multiplying. So we have our little three angels. I have Heather Matthews Willoughby, Tierra Easter, that's on my team. But also, I have presidents throughout the six divisions. So they connect and they're empowering their team through the same venue. So it's all about multiplication. It's up all if it's working, don't reinvent the wheel. So we're trying to actually my biggest, and I think I'm going into another question, but it's about using all platforms. I want to desperately use Beekeeper. I'm hoping that I can do that. Another avenue that I really like is the HR Hero, and to everything that we're doing, we have to have it electronically, whether it's an app, whether it's an electronic platform, because you never know. Hopefully, we don't have another pandemic, but we never know what's around the corner that's lurking that may prevent us from having business as usual. So it's very critical that we are constantly reinventing ourselves and thinking of innovative ways that can set us apart from our competitors. So we are nimble, we're quick here at Maryland Ecology. Some of our competitors are John Hopkins and MedStar, but there's nothing like our people and culture department because we're tapping into those softwares that I just mentioned.
Wonderful to hear that. Technology is a great connector, and how we
Mhm.
use it really depends on the humans who use it, right? And making that work
Agreed.
is a challenge in
Mhm.
and of itself. So kudos to you for keeping us
Mhm.
agile, and all the best to you in all the future, technology that you're bringing to your work there. So,
Definitely,
you've done a
definitely.
lot. So you've done a lot with HR tech. What's one piece of advice you have for HR professionals who are looking to adopt or learn new technology?
Mhm. So I want to circle back. We are now doing I-9s. We're no longer doing paper I-9s. So our I-9s, we're using the Guardian software for our administrative team members. And that was one of the first implementations that I did in 2020 when we were doing our cleanup and our auditing. We now use I-9 Advantage for our clinical team members. So whether it's snowing, it's storming, we can still complete that electronically using that platform. So the advice that I would give to that HR professional, don't be scared. Fear is a good thing. Have courage. You're going to be uncomfortable trying something new, putting in the extra hours, building it on the back end, to make it happen. But it's going to be so worth it. It's going to make your job easier. For example, on Monday, the weather was really bad, but we had a new hire. We didn't have to be in person to make those, documents approved and put it in the system. Life is so much easier when you maximize all the technology options that are out there. So go for it. Don't be afraid. Go for it.
Great advice. And since
Mhm.
we're all working from home, and I don't think we're going back to work full time, or
Mhm.
at least the hybrid model is not going to kick in till maybe the mid March, maybe mid April of this year, or even later.
Mhm.
What advice do you have for our HR colleagues on how they can prepare for this increase in remote work, increase in hybrid work, as a function? How can we better help our employee populations to deal with this change in their work
Mhm.
life and life, basically? What's your take on that?
I think that variety is critical. For example, I have a cohort. I'm one of the members of the HR Council with our U.S. Oncology Network. And, we have it on Zoom every time, every month. And so the same advice that I'm giving for myself, I would give to my fellow peers. And you have to mix it up. It's kind of like a marriage. You cannot do the same thing every time, all the time. You have to be intentional. You have to have a plan. You have to work the plan and run the plays, as my husband would say. So for me, the advice that I give to myself is, what is our plan? In February, it was self love. In January, it was self love. In February, we're focusing on Black history and different cancers. In March, it's International Women's Day, and it goes on and on. So have a plan and don't be the only speaker. You can learn from a 2-year old. Pass the baton. Have someone else host the meetings if we have to be on Zoom. Make time to have fun. It's not always business. Those that love being in our workplaces because we make time to engage and have a great time. So whether it's, you're having your favorite beverage, and you're sharing that with the team, it's important that, everyone has a voice, that they know their turn is coming up and whatever they're sharing, that they can plan out ahead of time. And so that they're looking forward to it. But if we're staying at home and doing the same old, it can lose the morale and the engagement with the team. And perhaps they may look across to your competition to see if they're doing something that can keep them more thrilled and excited with that organization. So, as HR professionals, we may be working at home. It may be a little redundant, but you have to continually reinvent yourselves. I believe every day is an interview. You're always being evaluated. So it's critical that you have a little bit of spice and that you're not predictable. So be creative, plan your week ahead of time, and remember yourself. Do one thing for you, and once you are filled, you can pour out. It cascades on. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Have that diversity. I love diversity and inclusion, and pass the love. Learn from your team.
Absolutely. And I love all the analogies that you presented. The marriage analogy really sticks with a lot of my how I feel about the pandemic and how I
Yeah.
relate to a lot of the work we're doing, right? And also you can't pour from an empty cup. So definitely we need
Indeed.
to replenish that cup and keep us hydrated,
Indeed.
through the whole time. So that brings
Yeah.
us to the fun part of today's conversation. I have a set of questions that if you could answer rapid
Of
fire question
course.
selection round. So ready?
Yeah, I am.
Who's one person you've gained in your network in HR technology that you think everyone should connect with in HR?
Oh my goodness. So I have two gentlemen that stick out. The first one is Dan with Beekeeper. His last name, oops, I am going to mess it up, but I can circle back with you. His name is
Yes.
Dan with Beekeeper. If you search, if you Google it, if you link in it, you will find it. I'm hoping that I have it in the budget, and if not, I'm going to keep fighting until I get it in there. Where everybody has Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Can you imagine? That's why I love Beekeeper, because it's an app. You have all the bees working together and bringing it back to the nest, where I'm not the only one sharing and giving what's happening with my electronic messaging, but the presidents that's in each division, as they're doing their thing, they can share what's happening in their world, and it's happening live time. I don't have to go back and share. I mean, whether you need somebody to fill your position, if you want to do a poll, if you want to do surveys, electronic handbook, everything is on your mobile app, on that application. So that's why I'm pushing so much. They're having grants. I mean, the turnover is low, the engagement is high. I can sing praises with Dan at Beekeeper. Secondly, it's my friend Tim with HR Hero. So I believe, our industry, we're thriving, we're doing excellent. We had no furloughs, we had no layoffs during the pandemic. And so, in addition to being a healthy financial organization, it's critical that we're giving back to our community. So, with HR Hero, you can partner with different organizations. I want to give a shout out to Ruba with the Northern Virginia Literacy Council, and you can give back to organizations, whether a team member they want to give to the Y, or whether it's trying to find a cure for cancer. You can link your organization's budget, your team members' interests, and give back to charities in a very healthy way, where the employees feel like they have a voice and a say so in where the funds go when we have a little bit extra of profit that we would like to share. So those are the two gentlemen that I like to highlight with Beekeeper and HR Hero.
Thank you. And I'll link their social platform links in our show notes once you send them to me. What's your
Awesome. Will do.
favorite What's your favorite HR podcast?
Would it be corny if I said HR Bytes?
Not at all. Thank you.
I love it. I think that it's so critical that we get away from Flintstone. I've inherited some systems. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's not working. And I think it's a matter of not knowing. If you don't know, then you don't know how to upgrade yourself. So it's very critical that, like, I didn't know about HR here, but as soon as I learned it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta share the love. And that's
Mhm.
why I can confidently, promote both gentlemen and the applications that they have to offer to organizations.
Absolutely. Thank you for that shout out. I really appreciate it.
Right. You're welcome.
What's your favorite LinkedIn learning course or, a webinar that you've attended or recommended to your colleagues related to HR
Mhm.
technology that you think we should all watch?
So with HR technology, I think I may have to, if I can, um, actually, I kind of, mm, I have two answers for that,
Okay.
Jay. The first answer that's coming to my mind, of course, is the PeopleSoft with LinkedIn. One particular one is the unconscious bias. With the murder of George Floyd last year, there's just so much happening in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what's separating, good HR professionals from those that are status quo, and how involved are you in your community and what's happening. So I think it's critical as HR professionals that we make sure that we don't have those biases and continue to educate ourselves with that. And then the second one, in regards to the tech part, it's and I'll send you the link for that as well. There's a link with culture that you can. It's a link, but it's also an app where you can it drills down to Asians, to Hispanics, where you can. There's an algorithm that puts the pulse and exactly what strategic plan you need to focus on that your organization is exposed to. I think it's
Wonderful.
Culture Amp. It's Culture Amp. Culture Amp is the
Okay.
technology. It blew
Okay.
me away. We don't have the funds to invest in that right now, but that was definitely another technology that I would love to add to the team because it will definitely showcase where are our exposures, where do we need to, have a pipeline where we can have some mentorship and groom that future leader up for success if that representation is not in the boardroom. So that would be my answer, Jay.
Wonderful. And I'll link all of those in the show notes for our audience so they can refer back and learn from all of that.
Hmm.
So, given the upheaval of all things work and life in 2020,
Hmm.
what's one workplace trend you think is here to stay?
That, I mean, whew, I think of two. I don't think remote work is going away. I think that people are going to save some money when it comes to office space and leasing. So I definitely think that remote work is going to stay, and that's why we need to be more creative in serving our team members that are working from home. And then secondly, I think as a result, people are realizing that they're going to have an electronic footprint. Before you can have that, receptionist in a waiting room and have that beautiful boardroom, etc. But we're not doing life like that right now. So people are going to be checking out your website. They're going to be checking out how are you showcasing and publishing? Are you on YouTube? How do we get to know? I am going to be connecting with Mark Lampu, our head of marketing, to see how we can, with all the great stuff that we're doing, how can we showcase that? How can we distinguish ourselves from our competition by putting some of our awesome work on the website and having that electronic footprint?
Building that employer brand and that personal brand within the organization for the HR
Yes,
department is so crucial right now, I think.
indeed.
And kudos to you for the great work you're doing. How do
Thank
you
you.
enjoy giving back to the HR community? I know you are involved in a lot of organizations. You are a Wonder
Yes,
Woman outside
yes.
of HR. But what do you do for the HR community specifically?
Mhm. So the first thing I like to, I'm very humbled and grateful for being one of three HR professionals in the state of Maryland that has the Forbes HR Council distinction. So I can't wait for my new article. I'm hoping that it'll be published, whether it's February or March of 2021, on the top three trends in HR when it comes to life right now, lifetime. I'm not going to steal the article, but please look for that. It's coming out either at the end of the month or in March. So definitely publications and writing. I'm also trying to complete an article with the training industry in terms of learning and development and how we can keep ourselves, our iron sharp, because we have to have that continuous improvement and learning atmosphere so that we are not left behind and become dull. Secondly, would be boards. I was grateful to accept a seat with the George Washington School of Business, their transformational program, and giving feedback on that for their students. And then lastly would be mentorships. I think it's important to have a legacy. I'm not a mom yet, but until then, I'm still able to have that impression and shape and guide and set people up for success. I don't believe that is necessarily how old you are, but I think it's how smart you are, and you can distinguish yourself because knowledge is power. Once you have it, no one can take it away. So those will be the three areas that I give back with publications, sitting on boards and shaping curriculum for future leaders, and definitely mentorship.
Well, thank you so much for all that you do. I enjoy my interactions with you on the Forbes HR Council
Mhm.
forums as well, and I learn a lot from all of you, and you bring so much fun to all the conversations. So thank you for being there for us and being,
Thank
one of those
you.
engaged members, not just a lurker, but just,
Yes, not just punching. I attended the January meeting. Indeed, indeed.
absolutely. So, thank
Mhm.
you so much for being my guest today. If our audience would like to reach you, how would you like them to connect with you online?
Definitely, they can pull me up on LinkedIn. That's Tish McFadden. I'm also on Instagram at Tish McFadden 17. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, HR Culture Lady. You can find me, put me in a search, and I will pop up. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show. I believe that life is a gift. You have to maximize every opportunity and always remember to shine. It's critical that you showcase your best self.
It's critical, and we will shine on. Thank you so much for being here
Yes.
today for us and encouraging us, and sharing your HR nuggets with us, audience. I look forward to bringing you more such global stories in the HR technology arena. So have a great day. Take care.